We need a whole nother press conference for just how the interaction went down. I'm lucky I still got a job. He'll run me out of here.
You're probably a pretty popular guy this time of year with a lot of the young players on the roster, right? Have any of the guys been, any guys in particular been trying to seek you out in your office to get on your good side?
I have a ton of guys. Every evening, every morning, there's 10 to 15 guys show up trying to get more coaching, any details they can get. So yeah, we got 1 million guys coming up to see my assistant and I. That's what it's going to happen. It's perfect. We love it. We encourage them to come up because in those meetings it's tough. I can only get to so many things and so many reps. So if they can come up, I give them more details that they can hopefully improve, and they have. So we've been excited. We got a good turnout at our office.
Any guys in particular that have been bugging you more than others?
We got a ton of guys that come up, but guys that show up a ton. Antonio Johnson, he's a guy that's been spectacular. You see him out there as playing defense, but he's been great for us as a gunner. Vice stuff has been really good. Kickoff, he's been doing well. So there's a bunch of guys that come up. Latavius Breeny's come up every day. So again, it's a good chance to visit with them, get to know them a little bit better, but also teach them a thing or two, about special teams that a lot of these guys hadn't played a ton in their college careers. So it's a good opportunity to kind of one-on-one to really get those fine details on special teams.
We're a long way from a preseason game. So how much does the evaluation and practice differ from actual game tape against another opponent?
I mean, I think a lot of the positions we put them in is to compete. So it's all part of the progression of build-up of getting him ready for not only the stadium practice on Saturday, but going into that Dallas game. So we get a bunch of looks of them throughout practice in the competition, and we tell them that we're competing. We're looking at both sides of the ball. It's not a scout team rep. You're getting evaluated on that scout team with the red hat sometimes, as if you're playing on on the real team. So we're looking at everything, putting in those guys in those positions, those matchups we want to see, to part of the evaluation.
How comforting is it for you when you know you don't have to worry about your punter, your snapper, your holder, your kicker, all that stuff?
And returner.
Sorry, forgot. But
That's great. It's a great feeling. Last season we had gone through a bunch of kickers. The fact that we're at this point and we're stacked at all the positions, it's a great feeling as a coach, and allows me to let those guys do what they do at a high level like they do, and I can kind of worry more about the the core guys. What does that look like? The coverage units, the kick return game or the punt return game. So I can emphasize more of that and less of those vet specialists that we have.
How do you decide when you go into the preseason games what guys get looks on what teams? Because I imagine you want to get some of the young guys looks, but you have some of these veteran players that have played these roles for you in the past that are also competing for those roster spots. So how do you kind of balance the guys you know and the guys you want to see?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing as a coach, I think as a veteran player, we have to still evaluate them for what they've done this year. A coach years ago told me, he said, you have to evaluate everybody for who they are today. And you can't get caught up in, hey, what did he do for us in the past? You have to make sure he's still doing that same thing. So that's part of it. And then the second part is we have to get these rookies a bunch of reps. They haven't done it. It's hard enough to do it in practice. They got to do it in the game when the lights are on. The pressure's really on. Can they execute? Get through those, the reps of it, getting tired in the fourth quarter, playing on offense and defense, and I'm telling them to run down on a kickoff. So I think it's kind of a mixed bag of kind of trying to figure out, are the old vets still as good as they have been for us? And then the young guys, can they compete with those veterans we have?
You guys worked with them yesterday. Was there anyone that caught your eye?
I'm sorry?
Was there anyone that caught your eye yesterday when you were working with them?
Like I said, Antonio Johnson, I think, has been fantastic. I think he's kind of separated himself. Latavius Breeny's done a good job as a young undrafted guy. Again, we have a bunch of good players that have kind of stepped up. Eric Hallett's done a good job. He's most improved from what he did in the spring, which is a great sign of where he started coming through, to training camp. And then Christian Braswell's done a good job for us. Doesn't have the size that, say, Antonio has, but the toughness, the quickness he has, and I think those are the guys that kind of stood out the most for me.
Super speculative, but there was a report yesterday that the NFL is looking at the XFL kickoff rules. I don't know, are you even familiar with the differences there and what that would mean if they went down that road?
I have watched a handful of those games. I'm not super familiar with those rules. We haven't got that information. I know that kind of surfaced in the media. I'm unaware of that.
Do you wish that they would, I mean, it's like they should be moving the target every year for special teams. Do you wish that we would find something and settle on it?
I think that'd be great, and I hope we can come to a good solution. We can still cover kicks, and it's such a big part of the game. That's my hope, is just keep covering kicks, find the best solution, keep it safe, but still covering kicks. So let's find that solution, and let's stick with it.
Go ahead. What's Parker Washington look like already? I mean, it looks like he's got a guy with some skill to be a returner at some point in this league.
He does. He's a natural fielder back there. He's got some quickness to get out of his break. He's done a really good job as a returner. And that's something I've talked to him about specifically is Jamal Agnew's here, and he's a great returner. He's an elite returner. But Jamal's also missed a few games in his career. So it's not Jamal. You got to make sure you're ready to go, and you got to prove to us throughout training camp and preseason games that you're the guy. You're the guy that steps up, because Christian Kirk did it for us last year. Love not to use Christian. You know, as good as he is, I don't want him out there, right? As a team, as an organization, we don't really want him out there. Love for a guy like Parker to be able to do that. And I think he has the skills to do it. But again, it's kind of part of the evaluation of, can he do it in the preseason? What's it look like off a punter's foot under the lights?
What has Tim Jones done for you?
Oh, Tim's been great. He had an exceptional year last year. He's smart. He's tough. He's physical. You know, he's a big, strong receiver that really translates really well to special teams. He cares about them. It's important. He's been great. And then led him right into the offseason. I thought he had a really good offseason. Training camp, he's doing really, really well. He's a very good player for us on special teams. And like I said, love the kid around. He's a guy we really like.
It looks like he's a little bigger this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it. And so much about special teams, it's speed is number one, which he has. Size, meaning he can also, can extend, but also keep his balance. You know, he doesn't get bounced off like some of the smaller receivers do. He gets contact. He can hold his ground. And then matchup-wise, he can match up against a linebacker type because he's 220 pounds. You know, he's 220 pounds. He's the same size as some of the linebackers, which is a good matchup for myself to put him in.
If you were in Buffalo with Chad Hall, and you smile at, and whenever I say his name, people smile. What is it about him that the receivers in Buffalo and that whole team embraced him, and now it's like instinct that the group here also has?
Yeah, we were excited to get him. Chad's a good friend of the family's. You know, when he came down, he actually stayed with my family and I for about a month and a half till his family moved down. So our families are close. He's like a brother to me. But you see right away his energy, his passion, not only for the game but for his players, and they feel that he's genuine. They know that that he has their backs. You get that in your friendship with him, and so he's just a special player, a special guy to have around because he relates to the players so much. They get the most out. They get the most out of his receivers.
I feel like that, especially apples and oranges, but in hearing about elsewhere in the league, the Nathaniel Hackett, Sean Payton situation. Players have raved. Aaron Rodgers, banged on the table about Nathaniel Hackett, that he cares about me as a person. And I see a similar parallel with Chad, that he just cares about the players. Is that the way that you think, the next generation of coaches, that has to be a prerequisite?
I think it is. I think that's a big part of it. To be able to relate to the players is huge. The relationship aspect of coaching gets the most out of them. So developing the relationship early on and then showing them passion and being genuine. I think those are some of the best qualities as a coach, which he's top notch in all those. And I think that's it shows. Like I said, those players in Buffalo loved them, and then down here, and then the details he teaches them. When you see him out there coaching as individual, you see the little details, the special teachings he does with his coaches. That and coaches, I don't know receiver position even close to what he knows, but I know the details enough to know he's a great teacher at doing it.
What have you seen from Andre Cisco? We've seen you work with him a little bit. collectively yesterday, the other day. What have you seen from him as a returner or whatever, route he's taken?
He's been great. So the offseason, he came to me and said, Coach, I'd love to be a returner, get back there with those guys. No problem, did it. He's been great. He started out just learning the position. And if you guys have watched some of the training camp practices, he's been great. He catches them clean. He's smooth. He's reliable. He's smart. He's tough. He's a guy that can compete for that, that emergency guy. So I think we love him. He's a great teammate. Cares that, he wants to win. How can I help? He knows Jamal is there, but he also knows, hey, I can help out the team. This is something I could do, and he's done a great job. He's learning every day. It's been really cool to work with him with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.